I want to chat about new suspension setup for this year. Working with Suspension Proz. They got me set up with their Proz SAXTON signature revalve and spring kit. Took these stock Walker Evans velocities, changed up the valving, put some heavy duty springs on there. Really made a big difference, and gives me a lot more confidence in the machine and what it's going to do while riding aggressively. And just wanted to give a little mid-season review on that. It's still early January, but I'm calling it mid-season. We've had a lot of early snow out here in Oregon. Been riding since mid-November. I think right now we have like the deepest base in the country, sitting over 100 inches at the base of Mount Bachelor. So yeah, really stoked about that. Yeah, let's dive into what the benefits are and what I'm feeling while out on the snow. This is my first time running any sort of tuned suspension or anything. As soon as I got the shocks back from Suspension Proz, put them on the sled. Just getting on the sled there, as soon as they got put on, I could notice they're significantly stiffer, which is what I was looking for. The stock velocities are really soft. They work well for the average rider. My goal is to be sending some bigger jumps and riding aggressively. So I want to be able to take those impacts and just be able to rely on the shocks a little bit more, because I was feeling some inconsistencies with the stock setup where I felt like the shock would collapse or bottom out, leaving a kind of unpredictable feeling. Now, I've got close to a dozen rides in, and on this setup here, what I feel is a more consistent ride, and I can kind of predict how the sled's going to react. And when I go into a feature, I know what it's going to feel like, and I know how the sled's going to respond. I'm not being surprised when I hit a bump or a wind lip unsuspected, and it just carries my weight better. And when I'm looking in the direction that I'm going, it just requires less effort because the valving is set up for my weight along with the preload. So that just helps, causes less fatigue. It's just easier to ride. It's more predictable. It's consistent. There's no bottoming out. There's no collapsing of the shock through different snow surfaces. It just absorbs the bumps really nicely. I've adjusted the preload a little bit here and there, just to fine tune for my liking. Adjust the clickers a little bit to see what sort of difference that makes. Overall, I'm really happy with their service. The turnaround was super quick. They average a 1 week turnaround, and that's about what it was for me. I'd highly recommend Suspension Proz hooking you up on some tuning for your shocks or some spring kits. They've got a spring kit for Polaris velocities. I believe they're working on some for Ski-Doo. Sort of an interesting observation with the stock shocks. You get on the machine and the shocks are already sagging, like you've already used close to half of the travel. I feel like just the weight of the machine already puts the shocks down, and then you get on it, and then the shocks already collapsed a ways. With this setup here, the stiffer springs and valving, you're getting more travel out of your shock. How could you go wrong with that? I've been able to adjust the suspension to make it more playful and get the skis in the air more if I want, or with some slight adjustment I can tame it down and keep the nose down for the more technical riding. The Saxton spring and valve kit, that runs right at $700. Definitely much cheaper option compared to aftermarket shocks. And for me, you know, this is an expensive sport, trying to save money where I can, and I already bought these shocks, so it's pretty hard to, you know, take them off and go drop $3,000 or more to get aftermarket shocks. So I'm really happy with the way these turned out. Really loving the ride. Really recommend it.